All right. So, from international headlines to homegrown storm, we're talking VAT on UK independent schools. And if you think that sounds like a dry policy issue, well, think again. This has the potential to radically reshape the UK educational landscape and beyond.
Yeah, I wrote an article on this recently, which really gets into these some of these factors that are happening, and we'll link that below. But the headline is this: from January 2025, the UK government imposed VAT on private school fees. The goal: raise some money, level the playing field, and theoretically fund 6,500 new teachers in the state sector. But the fallout has been significant.
Yeah, just in 5 months. And so far, around 20 independent schools have confirmed they are closing, and many others that are merging just to survive. Now, VAT wasn't the sole cause, but it was clearly the straw on the camel's back, especially for smaller schools, the kind that serve middle income families outside of the big cities.
And that's the irony. This was meant to drive equity, but it might just do the opposite. If only families who can afford the private schools are the ultra wealthy, what happens to the bursaries, the social mobility, and to the families who were, they were just trying to give their kids extra opportunity?
Yeah, it's like trying to fix a crack on a wall with a sledgehammer. You hit the structure hard, but you haven't addressed the foundation. Meanwhile, state schools are expected to absorb the overflow with no increase in funding or space.
Yeah, that's right. And there's obviously this global piece as well. UK boarding schools have long been a magnet for international families, but if the costs rise sharply, those families are going to start looking elsewhere, whether that's Canada, Europe, Southeast Asia, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. The UK has traded for decades on the prestige of its independent school brands, but prestige can't outrun the price. There's a limit to what families, even wealthy ones, will pay, especially when other options are emerging.
And here's the twist, this VAT move could actually accelerate foreign ownership of UK schools. I think as it stands, there are around 27 British independent schools owned by Chinese education groups. And just recently, Plymouth College and Malvern St. James joined Chinese-owned Galaxy Global Education Group.
Yeah, and that raises huge questions about autonomy, curriculum influence, and cultural alignment. Are these schools being saved, bought out, or even both?
We've also heard of schools that are looking at converting to academy status, essentially joining the state system to avoid the VAT. Now, that's a tectonic shift in what it means to be an independent school.
Yeah, I think that the big takeaway here is that education policy never really exists in a vacuum. It's financial, it's political, and it's deeply emotional. You mess with the model, you don't just move money around, you're altering people's futures.
Yeah, well said. I mean, if you're looking for a bit more information on that story, give that article a read.